welcome to my channel, Starview Magic. I'm the witch referred to as Starview, and I felt that there was a need for this type of channel. There is so many reputable and amazing human beings, but more so witch practitioners, all over social media. I'm not trying to discredit them or undermine them in any way because they are honestly my mentors. I look out to them. I respect every single thing that they do and all of their decisions. But I did feel like something you don't see on YouTube or any of the other social media platforms is that there's no witch practitioners that are just starting out. Everyone that's giving us content um, is experienced and continuing to grow and giving us great resources, but there isn't one that's showing you the day in and the day outs of trying to learn witchcraft and getting in tune with that side of the universe and yourself. So I felt like it was definitely important to get some representation of the dedication and the work, and it's not so it's just aesthetics and you know visually pleasing. It's a lot of inside shadow work that has to be done. So I definitely thought a channel that kind of shows you that me going through that and us going through that together as the channel grows would be very beneficial. A little introduction and a background of me. I actually grew up as a Baptist. Um, on my mother's side, on my father's side, he was a Pentecostal preacher. Um, he didn't understand me being gay, and I still haven't told him I'm a witch. So if you're seeing this, Dad, surprise. My mother couldn't be any more supportive. She's sensitive herself. She just refuses to admit it, and maybe that's because she doesn't want to put in the work. Because, like I said in the beginning, there's a ton of work and research that goes into this. Um, so as I grew up, I knew that, Christianity wasn't for me. It wasn't resonating. I didn't believe it. I didn't think that an all, loving, compassionate God could just, that knows your plan would just doom you from the beginning, basically. Because if you know what, our plan is and how we're going to react on this planet, then you know that we're going to hell and what we're going to do are bad. But we're not going to get into that soapbox because that's a whole nother story. So as it didn't resonate with me as I grew up, trying to figure myself out as, a gay individual in Southern Illinois, it was, hard enough, let alone to throw witchcraft on top of it. I did have a friend, he was my best friend. I was at his house day in, day night, and he was Wiccan, and he kind of, told me some interesting facts, that you can just pretty much wiki these days. Um, and I was gonna experiment with it, and I never did. And then flash forward to my 30s, I I could feel energies, um, and I can't explain that any better than just that. I could feel presences and entities and energy resonating. So I knew that there was something. I just didn't know what. So that's when I started exploring spirituality, and it led me to Wiccan again. And when I found this app, um, it's a great app. It has, a lot of quizzes, Wikipedia pages, assistance. But in the chat rooms, I would find that people would ask for help. Like, I'm starting out, where should I start? And of course, the very first thing is research. And there was a troll, and um, if you're watching this, you know who you are. But he basically would say that it was a cop out answer that we were saying to do research. And it wasn't by any means. We were preparing them that you are going to have to research. It's very dependent. Each person's practice is super personal to them and themselves. That there's not a one size fits all situation when it comes to witchcraft. So I just really felt that there was people that needed help, that needed guidance, and then On the other hand of that, there was other people who can't come out of the broom closet for one reason or another, and they were just so extremely lonely and getting depressed, and they didn't feel like they had any support system. And I personally have been lucky. I have a great family that support me. Most of them are skeptics, if not all, and that's okay. They still support me in this. So I felt like I had to do something. I couldn't just sit by while all these people just felt neglected and alone and doing this just by themselves. So I started a Discord server, kind of like a online Coven situation, just so we could bounce ideas off each other. What do you want to hear? What do you need help with? Which gods are you working with? Which gods aren't you working with? Are you not working with gods? Just everything. So then the more I did that, the more I got to thinking about this channel, how there isn't a lot of representation of an early witch in her early stages or his early stages to see what they go through. So I thought it's important to get this out here. Um, I don't know if moving forward, if we're going to switch to more of a podcast format, and then just give resources and exercises, some tips and tricks, or if I'll continue to do, video recording and editing, maybe get, a microphone, new camera, something um, worthy of content creating. I don't want to just put anything out here into the internet. I want to make sure it's something that someone somewhere is going to get worthwhile from. So that's a little bit about my background, and the why behind this channel. Um, like I said, moving forward, it's going to be podcast or video. It's going to be very dependent on um, a lot of factors. So it may be a mix of both. We'll just see. I do eventually would like to get into some videos of spellcasting just as a newer practitioner. Um, the amount of books that I read, the amount of resources I read, and the amount of meditation and shadow work. Um, and if you don't know what shadow work is, we'll have to do a whole nother video on that one. Um, but just know it's basically looking inside of yourself, finding any blocks, and working through very uncomfortable topics that your body and mind have just shoved down, to deal with it and get back to your everyday life. Shadow work is very, very vital to witchcraft, in my opinion, and so is meditation and entering those alternative brain waves. So there's a ton that goes into witchcraft. Now, if you're a very, very, very new beginner in witchcraft, you haven't even started the craft, but you're interested, this would be the channel for you. I'll give recommendations on other subscribe or other content creators' channels. I'll give recommendations on books. I'm going to try to reach out and collaborate with some authors to see if I can't get some books to do some book reviews on, or at the very least get permission. I don't want to just take someone's work and just blast it on the internet because it may be bad, and I'll be brutally honest if it's bad. Um, that's just who I am. Um, and then finally, um, basically the end to this is I want to just kind of shout out how I found YouTube and content creating with um, specific individuals. First of all, Olivia the Witch of Wonderlust. If you don't know her and you're looking into the occult, I mean, you've been living under a rock. She's like the witch goddess of YouTube. So I'm gonna patent that. But if you haven't seen her, I will link her up above and then down below in the description box as well. Another one is Ivy the Occultist. I resonate so much with Ivy. She has done so much in the occult community, and she's such an introvert like me, which is just wild that introverts are doing, content creating. But she has basically a bag of all tricks. Every facet of witchcraft or the occult that you can think of, she's done it, nailed it. So I highly recommend Ivy as well. Another one, as you can see, my herbs. Um, I'm very much an herbalist. I love the medicinal properties as well as the magical properties. I think it's very important to know your ingredients, what you're working with, how you can make them work for you. And another YouTuber that I highly recommend is the Green Witch. Annie is fantastic when it comes to videography. First of all, she's an amazing artist, but she gives so much useful content on how to use these herbs in ways that you would use in everyday life. Like, for instance, for eating. So she has made a milk thistle jelly, and I'll link that down below as well. And I cannot wait for me to get milk thistle and make this jam. Um, then also like salves, oils. She just goes into all of it. So I highly recommend those three for sure. Um, Now I know that there is another one. His name is Marshall. He is the Witch of Southern Light, and he is primarily on Instagram, I believe. But he did just release a book, and I'm eager to get that book because I'm ready to read and see what he has to say. He's been through it, and we kind of have similar backgrounds. Um, he's a mama's boy, and his mom supports him just as much as mine does. So I'm eager to read that book as well. Um, so yeah, so basically that's this channel, what it's gonna try to be, what I'm gonna try to make it in a nutshell. Um, I would appreciate any subscriptions. Like I would love for you to just share it, even if you don't subscribe, if you know someone who is struggling with the witchcraft, who needs assistance, who needs a community to back them so they're not alone in this. Please share that with them. We also have a Discord server, like I mentioned. I'll link that below. I have an Instagram that has just started, just like this channel, so it's got a little bit, but not too much, but it's going to grow as well. I'll link that below as well. And again, I hope that this finds whoever it needs to find, and I'll continue to do these channels and show you what it would look like, to start the craft and what you should be reading. And again, I don't claim to be a know-all or know anything. And of course, anything you see on YouTube, this channel, or any of the channels I recommended of the highly, seasoned practitioners, always, always, always cross-reference. Cross-reference everything you read, no matter what your sources are. So, um, that's it for me. I can't wait to see you guys again. I think our next video is gonna be a great topic and one that we can maybe do over tea. I don't know. We'll do something. But thank you for tuning in today and supporting my channel. And when you're just supporting me, you're not supporting just me. You're supporting all the witches behind me who don't have that support system. So from all of us from the Starview's Coven, I want to thank you and I wish you the best of days.